And also we're going to send out the link for the 10-year anniversary on September 18th for everyone to go ahead and join us. If you are interested, reminder, if you had already registered, you do not have to register again. I'll send the link again so people have a fresh link, but you do not need to register again.
Okay, let's see what Jesus has to say to us today. You are blessed beings indeed. I am that one that you know as Jesus. We want you to understand that you are immortal. We want you to understand that you have no limits. We want you to understand that your stories about your body, your stories about your relationships, your stories about what you're capable of are mostly fictitious. You are unlimited. And what we want to bring this to your attention for is so that as you look at your lives, that you really begin to envision what you want your life to look like. Most of you in the West do not do this. You are so enthralled with the mire of the illusion that you are constantly reacting to what is, rather than envisioning what you want on a regular basis, rather than aligning with the frequency of what you want on a regular basis. So when you envision your future, perhaps you are living in a suburban home, perhaps you have a job, perhaps you are retired, and you think, well, I'd really like to have a ski cabin, and I'd love to be able to ski in the winters. But I can't afford that. That's never going to happen. That is the beginning of the loss of your dream. I can't afford that. That's never going to happen. Your words are powerful. Your thoughts are powerful. Your dreams and nightmares are powerful. So when you have that kind of idea, I'd like to get a beach house in Florida, for example, or I'd like to get a ski cabin in Aspen, or I'd like to go to Paris for a month in the summer. Whatever your dream is, your conditioning is like a giant wet blanket that hits that fire of inspiration and puts it out before it has even started. If you want to go to Paris next summer for a month, start putting pictures of Paris on your screensaver on your computer. Start looking at beautiful homes in the environments around Paris and keep your conditioned mind out of it. Keep your conditioned mind out of it. Don't ask how much these places cost. Don't check in to see the availability and see that it's booked for 3 years. Don't do that to yourself, but envision and imagine. And on a regular basis, we would say even on a daily basis, take 5 minutes to walk along the beach in front of your beach house. Take 5 minutes to get the cab to the Louvre so you can go look at some art. Spend 5 minutes imagining fresh powder on a beautiful, crisp January morning as you zoom down the slopes. We know none of you are doing this, and we would like you to be excited about your future, excited about the abilities that you have been given. You have been given the power to create worlds. And you are all creating the world you are in. You are all creating the body you are in. You are all creating the bank account that you have. You do not believe it. You think the world is inflicting these things upon you. But no, it is your imagination or lack of imagination. Now, what we want you to understand is that your deepest desires, your heart's desires, are known by the universe. You have been mulling things over for decades, whether it's looking at horses and think you might like a horse, or looking at a new car and thinking, well, I'd look good driving that. That would be fun. And then it disappears. But these things are registered within the matrix of your experience. And when you are at peace, when you are happy, when you are joyful, you get closer and closer to joyful things. So if you think about the things that you'd like to experience, they are joyful things. You don't fantasize in the future about what you don't want, although that is not totally true. Some of you do. We would like you to become more diligent and vigilant for thinking about what you would like to have. It can be as simple as putting in a pond at the top of your property. It can be as simple as even getting a new set of tires for your truck. You may immediately think, oh, I can't afford new tires. That's the first thing that comes across the mind. I can't afford that. That's $1,200. I don't know how I'm going to get that. And the conditioning starts, the negative stories start. So we want you all to become very, very well aware of dreaming, imagining, conjuring up what it is you would like to have appear in your life, and observe the conditioned mind jumping in immediately to let you know that that's not possible. So this is what money does. This is one of the great curses of money in your society, is that you have been indoctrinated deeply into believing that you cannot bring something to you unless you have the money to do it. And so when you don't have the money for a month in Paris right now, you immediately say, I can't do it. And so your words become truth, your beliefs become truth, and you don't do it and you can't do it. And you say, what? See, I told you I couldn't afford it. And so we want you all to begin a practice of dreaming and imagining. And we want you all to spend 5 minutes a day in the tub, in the shower, while you're brushing your teeth, as you go to bed at night, 5 minutes envisioning how you will feel when you get to experience that thing that you would like to experience. We want you to turn away from the world as a constant object of your attention. We would like you to begin to really go into your inner world. And in there is everything. It's your creativity, it's your powerful imagination, it's your wishes, your desires. Your blueprint is inside of you. And it will guide you to a path that is most beneficent for you. So that's our advice for you today. Dream big, and remember, you must bring into it how you would feel when it comes true. I will return shortly.
All right. We have a question from BJ Buckley, and I just went through this, BJ. What she's asking is, could Jesus please clarify how to balance not making children do things they do not want to do and making them do things that as a parent we feel they are in their best interest? I'm going to summarize because it's long. Yeah. Basically, she homeschooled her son last year. Now he wants to return to school because he misses his friends. She says that's not in his best interest, so she's going to keep homeschooling him. But now, you know, he's sleeping late and resisting, and he's just not a happy camper. So she wants to, and she's hearing similar stories from other parents. So she's wondering how to balance that.
Can you give your little spiel on what you've been doing, if you're willing?
Yes. So basically, BJ, what I did is I let my children return to school. Now, they had 2 years of not going to school, and they got to experience the contrast, not having the friends and having the freedom to choose and et cetera, et cetera. But now I feel like they are better equipped. Now they understand what is indoctrination, what isn't. They have become more discerning on their own, and they are younger. They are 13 and 14. But they have become more discerning. And now that we moved to South Dakota, I realize it's not a good idea to keep them at home. They need to meet friends. But now I feel that they are equipped. And I really felt when they started asking me to go to school, I felt that they knew inside what their journey is. And I thought I knew better. And I feel that if I keep them at home, I'm actually going against what is in their best interest. So that's what I've done. They're going back to school. But now, anytime I hear, oh, I'm not going to, school is coming. Remember, you wanted to go back to school.
Don't complain to me about it.
I want to hear nothing about, I don't want to get up early. You're going to set an alarm. You're going to get up yourself and you are going to get there early. So that's what's happening here.
And do tell what you've told the kids to do if anyone tries to vaccinate them.
Oh, I told them they can run. I told them they can kick, they can bite, they can do whatever it is that they need to do. They can punch, but they need to get away from school. And now they're bigger, so it's interesting because they really have become warriors. They've become self-advocates, which is why I feel more comfortable letting them go back into the lion's den, if you will. But yes, when this was all starting, we said, you do not let anyone vaccinate you, not against your will, not trying to make it sound like we send a note saying it was okay or whatever the case may be. You run out of there and you're not going to get in trouble with us. So they know what to do.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Let's see what Jesus has to say. You are blessed beings indeed. I am that one that you know as Jesus. That is a good example of how to do it. Your children have a guidance system and they have guides and teachers, and they have idols and lessons that are going to come up for them in this incarnation. Now, as parents, of course, you may be in your 30s, 40s, or 50s, depending on when you chose to have your children. You have come to the conclusions that you have come to through making an awful lot of mistakes. You have gone through your 20s, all of you. Just think about what shenanigans you got up to in your 20s, in your 30s, whether it was a divorce, whether it was a hot love affair with somebody that you shouldn't have had a hot love affair with, whether it was smuggling contraband over the border, whatever it was, you all have become wise because of the experiences that you've had. And you have become wise because you've been studying A Course in Miracles. Now, a lot of you come to A Course in Miracles because your lives weren't working, because you weren't happy, because you'd made some decisions that were not to your best advantage. And so you became teachable and you began to change your minds. And this is where a lot of this guidance is coming from, the wisdom that has come from re-indoctrinating yourself into a loving frequency out of fear and judgment. So what we want any parent to reflect upon is the knowledge that you have can be shared with your children. There's absolutely there's nothing wrong with sharing your wisdom with your children and saying, this is what I have learned and this is what I think is the best route. But when you have a young soul that's embodied, they came in here to do some stuff. They came in here to learn some stuff. They came in here to tear some stuff down. And they are not going to follow the rules that you have. And that is really, really paramount for most of you to understand, is that, and we mean this with a great deal of love, is that most of the adults in your society at this time have created the society that you are seeing at this time. It is your fears, it is your conditioning programs, it is your lack of self-confidence at times, it is your self-loathing at times, it is your recklessness at times, it is your ego running riot in all different kinds of ways, from indoctrinating yourself into hypochondria to being a radical adrenaline junkie who drinks and smokes and does all kinds of things and everything in between. You must remember that this collective that you are experiencing right now is the external expression of the collective interior condition. So you are not going to get a transformation of your society by making your children do what you think is best. And in all truth, even though you are being re-educated through A Course in Miracles, a lot of you still have a lot of untrue ideas in the mind, limiting beliefs and ideas in the mind. And many of the young people coming into your planet at this time are indeed warriors, and they will be dismantling systems. Some of those systems they have to experience to understand that they need to be dismantled. When you hear about a system from a theoretical point of view, you're indifferent to it. It hasn't impacted you. You don't know how it feels. When you have experienced a system from within, oh, you know how it feels, and you can tell where it's off track, and you can tell where it's oppressive, and you can tell where it's abusive. And what will happen to many young beings as they go back into the school system after being off for a year or 2 or 3, many of them will in fact find it intolerable. And so those parents that reluctantly let their children go back to school will in short order find that they are extremely unhappy with the system, that they are causing a ruckus, and that they are letting their teachers and headmasters and mistresses know that this is an abusive system and they're not going to put up with it. So many of you that are sending your kids back to school may get a little bit of a surprise this year, because the contrast between freedom and imprisonment, between choice and indoctrination, is a huge chasm of energetics. And we would like all of you who do send your kids back to school because they want to, that's their guidance leading them, trust in their guidance. You have to trust in their guidance at some point. You've raised them from babies. You've taught them everything you know, some of which was not beneficial to them, we'll let you know. And yet they now have to make decisions that their future life is going to be based on and founded on. They are going to make some incorrect choices. They are going to make some incorrect choices, just as all of you have made some incorrect choices, from which you have learned some very powerful lessons that you have never forgotten. So remember the grand scheme of an incarnation. Remember this, and remember that doing as your parents tell you right throughout your life is not going to lead you, the child, let's say, into an independent existence. It is important for young adults to have their own self-determination, to have their own desires, to have their own focuses, and to show their parents that they are building the blocks of a new and different life that is going to look very different than yours. So that is our answer.